Hey everybody, welcome back to my craft room and the second video for Stencilpalooza Day 7. Quick, get all of the requirements out of the way. Any links that are down below are affiliate links, which just means I get a small commission at no expense to you or credit to if you purchase something using one of my links. Stencilpalooza goes until the end of the month on September 1st. All the stencils go into the archive. Today we had 2 stencils being released. These are stencils that people had requested to be brought back. That's every Sunday. And then Monday through Thursday are new releases. You can buy 1 stencil at a time, or you can buy 1 week at a time. This week is holiday Christmas, winter holiday Christmas, or you can buy the entire Stencilpalooza at one time. Shipping is only $1 if you buy any Stencilpalooza stencil, whether it's the bundle, the whole thing, or 1 stencil today, 1 stencil tomorrow, etc. If you decide you want to wait each day to see if you like the stencil. However, if you add anything else to your order, you will pay standard shipping rates. Just note that I believe when the stencils are sold out, they are sold out. So if there's something you want, go ahead and place the order. Let's go ahead down to the desk and check out today's stencil. Today's stencil is called Deck the Halls, and it's these 4 Christmas trees. I love it. Just looking at Deck the Halls. And instead of a slimline card, we're going to break this up into 4, and we're going to do an unconventional 2 Christmas cards, basically the same. I grabbed some Stellar inks and some bright colors. I have Fruitcake, Stupid Cupid, Prumpus, Shooting Star, and High Tide. And then I grabbed some old Spellbinder dies from my stash that I'm going to use. I already have everything pre-cut. I have some Not Your Mama's cardstock cut, some layering white cardstock, and this is some I think handmade paper that was in my stash, in my scrap bin. I thought that'd be fun. And then I also grabbed some digital dots, and I already have sparkle overlays, and I already have all of this die cut out. And then finally for my greeting, I have the, I think this is Holiday Essentials. Yes. And I'm going to use the Merry Christmas stamp set. So if you don't have that, you can use any Merry Christmas stamp you want. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and move down to my desk here with my Stick and Stay palettes. I like to keep mine on my desk. As you can see, I just keep the cover on it. And what I like about it is I can go ahead and I can add in, I think I'm going to do my lighter colors first, and then we'll do these 2 colors. And of course, we need Shooting Star for all of the stencils, all the stars. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down, and we're just going to do each one. I am going to add a little pixie spray to the back of this because there are this tree branch and these little ornaments, and I want them to stick. So I just added a little pixie spray to that section. I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to start with the first tree here. I'm just going to kind of center it on my panel. So, and then we're going to start with Shooting Star, and I'm just going to grab a small blending tool, and maybe we'll grab this piece. I'll blend them fairly quickly. And it actually might be nice. I could spritz this with some ornament golds, but I think I'm going to leave it for now, and maybe we'll just paint on some fairy dust. I'm going to wipe that off just a little bit and then cover it up just so I don't put my finger in it. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab my next color, which is Fruit Cake. And I'm just going to grab my orange brush and rub it off good. Make sure I get true color. And then we'll go ahead and blend it on. I think I'm going to cover up my star here a little bit. I just think it's kind of fun sometimes to do an unconventional Christmas card in non-traditional colors. I may not have my blending brush off too clean, but it's fine. And then I think I'm going to try to come in a little, and that one didn't stay. So we're going to have to, we'll cover that up though. We're going to put some gems, I think. I'm going to push that in a little bit. I must not have got a lot of pixie spray on there. We'll just kind of move that in place. And I'm going to go down just to cover it. And a little bit right in this side, just so it's lighter. Oh, and I just realized, oh, look at that. Oh, I should have covered it. I should have covered it with some ink. That's okay. I have a sand eraser here, and I can go through and make an ink blend. Then I can erase that. I can also start this one over, which is fine. I'm going to move it off to the side so I don't get all those eraser marks. Just going to erase it off the side a little bit. See if that helps. Just a sand eraser. This does happen. We can also do a little punt. And what I can do is just add a little bit of color to the edges, since I got a little bit on that side, and just make it look like it's supposed to have a little color. Which is an easy way to do, but I did wipe off some of that. So there's just a hint of color around the edge. So if I was going to layer on the black, you can see just the hint of color there. But I think we'll just go in and just kind of blend it a little bit more. I haven't decided which ones are going to go on the black yet and which ones are going to go on the white. Well, they're not going to be white, I should say. We're going to direct to paper to color them to match mattes. But obviously the orange one is probably going to go on black now that we have the black. And then, like I said, we can put a little gem there to kind of fix our little faux pas. So let's leave this guy off to the side here. And then we're going to go on and move on to the next one. I think I'm going to kind of look and see. These are just some old Spellbinder dies that, like I said, were in my stash that I just went through to find one that I want this one to be. It doesn't really matter, I guess. I just wanted to find something that kind of matched my size of my tree without being too big. And I'm just going to go in and go ahead and do that. So let's grab our yellow. I'm doing a little heavier at the top and going down. So it's like brighter at the top, even though the light would come from obviously about low, but I like that look. Okay. And for our next color, our next lightest color is High Tide, which is this like greeny color. I'm going to go ahead and grab, I have a little bit of a light green brush here. Wipe this off. And you can always take a piece of scratch paper and like test it. See if there's any. There's a little bit of green, but not enough for it to make a difference. Wipe it off just a little bit more. All right. I don't know if I've used High Tide yet, so. Now, since this one's not on the edge, I don't have to worry about masking off the bottom. Now, you could also make the trunk brown, but I'm going to go ahead and make one green tree just because I just think that's going to work. We're going to go darker from the side. And pull it across just to give it that little bit of dimension. All right. There is our second one. We got a little bit of green down at the bottom. Like I said, you could take time to mask that all off. I'm just going to scrub it real good. That looks good. So there is our second tree. Like I said, I have to decide which ones I'm going to put on the black and which ones we're going to put on the white cardstocks. Okay, so next we have Pompous and Stupid Cupid. Let's do Pompous first, just because This one I need to make sure because I only have one purple brush. You know, I might pull in a new brush. Let's see. I think I have a new brush over here. Yeah, I'm going to pull in a new brush for the compass because it's a very fun color and I want it to stay true. And then I think I'm going to do this one. So, and this time I'm going to be smart. I'm going to take this piece and we're just going to go like that. And then we'll do our, like I said. I hope, I don't know if anyone has been purchasing any of the Stencilpaloozas. I love stencils because you can do so much with them. You can heat emboss through them. You can use glazes and pastes and sprays, and you can dry emboss with them with your embossing folder and a silicone mat and make it kind of round. And you can, you can pick and choose how much you want to blend and make your own backgrounds and pattern papers. Okay, so for this guy, I'm going to kind of go gently over because I don't know how much PVC spray ended up getting on my, and I'm going to hold him down. I'm over here. Just till I get this side done. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this edge. And then I think I'm going to go from the bottom up with this one. Just because we didn't get a ton of pixie spray on there. Make my little bit darker things underneath. Just make our little, there we go. Perfect. All right. And then last but not least, we have one more. And this is going to be our Stupid Cupid. I'm actually going to ink blend this upside down because I want to be able to grab my ink and I don't want to get my color in the way, the ink in the way here. So let's grab our yellow first and do our star. So I'm going from down up since I'm going upside down. Okay. Oops. We moved our stencil, but that's okay. Put this back down. And grab a pinker ink, a pink ink pad, blot brush, and I'm going to rub this one off pretty good. Let's see how it looks. Doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty clean. So let's grab that. We're just going to lightly ink blend over this one. Actually, I'm going to go from the top. Go backwards. And I'm going to just take this and I'm going to go down a little bit. And then I'm going to grab it right there. So right at the edge of where this meets, I'm just going to. So there's a little bit of shading right there. And then I'll just do a little bit more ink blending. Awesome. Okay. Let's peel and reveal. Perfect. Okay, so we have our three. Now let's decide what colors we want. I have my black and I have my white. And I have my other black. So we know this orange one is probably going to be on the black because I already ink blended it. I'm trying to decide, how do I want to put the colors? I'm thinking I'm going to do a warm tone one and a cool tone one. So warm tones with these two and cool tones with these two. So these two need to be direct. And this one we need to do a little ink blending on the sides. Just so that they match. Just a little bit, which works since I actually got a little pink on the side, on the bottom. Just a little color. It's very subtle on the edges. I'm not pulling in any extra ink. I'm just going to use what's on my brush. Just like that. Okay. Let's move these to the side for a minute and grab my Stick and Stay matte cleaner. Just wipe that off good. And then we've got our green and our purple. And for our green and our purple, we'll start with the green. And I'm going to go direct to paper, which I did in my earlier video. I'm going to do this off to the side here a little bit. So I'm sorry if I'm off camera a little bit. It stays a little bit. It's a little easier to clean off my glass mat. So I'm just going to do that little bit because when I go to cover, it's going to be, okay. There's that one. Wipe the green off. And then we'll grab our compass. This is my favorite way if you don't have a lot of colored cardstock or cardstock that matches. The Stellar inks are amazing for that. You could easily make a colored accents, colored backgrounds, everything, colored mats, colored paper that makes it look like you have a whole stash of colored paper. And don't worry too much about the corners. That stuff will dry back, where it looks a little darker. All right. So, well, I'm going to let those dry for a second. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some sparkle. And I know I said we're going to put some gems on here. I still am going to do it. I'm just going to be a little more careful with it. I'm going to go ahead and grab my overlay. And what I want to do is make sure I match it up. And this is the digital dots overlay. And what I found was the easiest way was to just bend it if it didn't cut all the way through and kind of pull, and it just cut, and it would cut through. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to very carefully line up the top. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just homemade cards. Right? Let's get this one out of the way. You could totally do this on just a piece of paper and then die cut out your trees. And you could have put your sparkle overlay on it first and then die cut the whole thing out. But I find this is just as easy. And look at the sparkle now to our thing. Now it's not perfect on this side. I can take my scissors and I can kind of just trim it off. But once we get it glued down, it's not going to matter too much. I mean, if it's bothering you, cut it off if it didn't match perfectly. But that does bother me. I can also kind of fold it over the edges a little bit here and there and soften that. So there's my first one. Look at the difference. Isn't that fun? All right, let's get the rest of these done here quick. You could also do that and have done it with this piece and made this piece sparkly, except that you're not going to see as much of it because you're going to cover it. Now it looks like this one has to go this way. Matching up the edges as best I can so that I don't worry about it being super perfect. Smooth out the edges if I have to with a bone folder. But if you don't stick it down super fast, so here's a palette knife. And just spread that out, or a credit card or a room key card if you still have one of those left. Library card, something like that would work too. And just spread it out and cover up, and it will take out those extra little things. All right, got 2 more to go. I haven't decided if Thursday or Friday night, I know I'm going to use the stencil of the month because it's going to work really well with my the paper pad of the month. So I am excited, or the stencil of the day, to work with that. So that'll be fun. And then also this week, both Sarah and Walter and Sean will also be using Stencilpalooza stencils during their live. So you'll have to check that all out. All right. So there we go. We've got that. And these great pieces or backers are great to stick extra pieces of foam tape on if you have some on your desk that you want to keep. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to flatten these. Let's put our mat back in our glass mat, because it doesn't need to stick to that anymore. Go ahead and add down my tape. We might stick a couple we might pop up one of them, or one on each card. And then I'm just going to center this. I have two different sets of this Spellbinder die, and so they kind of match. They're close enough. Oh my gosh, look at the sparkle, guys. I can't get over that. Okay, let's see. I think we're going to pop up one too. So let's grab some on each card. I think that will make it extra fun. Let's grab some foam tape. Put this one here. We'll save this one. Let's pop up the pink one. So we'll go ahead and add that foam tape while we're at it. Two more pieces. One full piece. And then this one, we're just going to cut it directly in half. Stick one on here. Stick one on here. That'll work. All right. Our card panels might be kind of boring per se, but that's only reason I say that is because I haven't decided. I'm thinking of what I want to do with them. Awesome. So here's the difference between it. There's just a little bit of raised, but we're going to put them together on a card like that. Let's get this. And I love the black, the pop of black, but I didn't have enough for 4. I only had enough for 3. And I wanted to do all 4 trees. So I decided we would make some with, I'll show you a different way to use them. So I also don't want to forget to tell you to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, or if you are watching or would like to see more content from me, my channel is Sugar Cards by Candy on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to me there and watch them. I also have some other videos here and there that I have been working on or posting. Not a ton right now, but I have some cards in the works that I will be posting on my own channel. So I would appreciate that if you would love to follow me over on my channel. Okay, there we go. So we've got our 4 things. I think before I start putting these together, no, we'll do that at the end because I need to be able to glue them down. I need some card panels. So let me grab a piece of Not Your Mama's cardstock. I'm just going to cut this down into 2 A2 card panels. And then I think a stencil. I had a stencil that was, I'm going to quick look through my binder here and see if I can find it quickly. An old stencil. Yes. This one is called Sympathy Script. It was from earlier this year. I think in July it came out. I will link it if it's still available. If it's not, you could use a sentiment stamp, a script stamp, or things like that. I'm going to grab this. I think we are going to pixie spray it because it is a delicate stamp set. All right, which size it is? I'll let this pixie spray dry a minute. And I'm not going to move my stick and stay mat off. I'm just going to use some magnets here and go ahead and grab a little bit of the inks that we were using. Here's some of the pampas. I'm just going to do it and some spots just to kind of tie in some of the color. I'll grab some High Tide. Just so that there's a little bit of something in there. And then I think what else I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of splatter to the background. But I want the splatter to match. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. So it's very light background. But let's grab our splatter box. And I'm just going to take some of this and stick it to on my glass mat here. And do some of the purple, and I'm going to do a little bit of the green. I know that's off camera, but I'm just adding that, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. Just a little spritz of water. And I'm going to I have a couple paint brushes here, so I'm going to use one of each. And grab some of the purple. And I'm just going to add some splatter. I might not have added enough water. It'll be fine. Just a little bit of purple. And a little bit of the blue, kind of the green. And add a little bit of that, kind of, just a little. Just gives it a little something. Then we will pull this off. And let's add our card, our trees. So the reason I thought about this was because, I mean, you're going to cover up most of that, but there's just a little bit. You can't get on a regular A2 card, you can't get all 4 of them. So I'm just going to kind of twist them a little bit. And I'm just going to have them together. I mean, you could do them this way, but I'm just going to twist them a little bit, just a little bit. So let's add a little tape runner back. And I'll let them off the edge a little bit. I might cut it off just a hair. Okay, that one like that. I'm going to do the same sentiment, so we'll do sentiments at the same time. And then I'll put this guy this way a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and just take my scissors and chomp it off. And you could use your paper trimmer too. I'm just going to chomp them off a little bit. And I'm going to leave this and set this to the side while we work on our other card. And we're going to do the same thing with this one, except we're going to use the other colors. I'm just going to wipe it off quick. Same thing, put it on. If you didn't have to sit there and we weren't sitting waiting for it to dry, you could also use, it'd be beautiful to do like white heat embossing of this and then do some ink blending over it, and you'd have that white on white. If you have an embossing folder, would be beautiful with that. Actually, let's do that. Let's do it a little bit differently. Let's do an embossing folder. Okay, just so I can show you the difference. Make it a new card panel. Sorry for the change, guys. But I do sometimes my brain starts thinking while I'm crafting, and then it's great. Let me go back here and grab one. This is a Simon Says stamp folder. I don't know the name of it. I'm going to spritz it with some of the Chroma Mist. Oh no, I'm going to spritz it with some water. Just to see if it helps prevent some cracking. Because sometimes with the thicker cardstocks, just line it up carefully in there. And I believe I just needed one plate, if I remember correctly, in my Anna Griffin. Hopefully I did that right. I didn't do too much embossing in my Impress Mini. Let's see if I did that right. Yes. Oop, not quite. I think I need a shim as well. We're going to run it through one more time. That sounds better. I needed just a little bit more pressure. Yep, that'll work. Fun design. And then what we'll do is we'll just hit it with a little bit of each of these colors. And you're not going to see a ton of it because it's going to be behind. A little bit of color. And pink. The pink is a little more vibrant. So let's grab a little bit of fruitcake and add a little fruitcake over in the corners to make it. There we go, just enough. And we're gonna add a little splatter to this too. So I'm just gonna put it down. I'm not gonna worry about putting my splat box up here. It's not gonna make that big of a mess. And this time I'm gonna put a little bit of my ornament gold in there. My paint brushes. I love the color, the sparkle that adds. It adds just a little bit of sparkle to my splatter. Like I said, we're not gonna see a ton of it, but the layers on layers on layers help it make it seem like there's a little bit of something extra with your card. Okay. There we go. All right. Wipe the desk off here quick. And then let's get our card panels done. Got a sentiment and we'll be done. Basically the same card, 2 different colors. I mean, you could go green and do traditional colors and do, you know, like red. This paper doesn't like this, so I'm going to add some glue. I don't even know where this homemade paper came from. I just happened to look in my scrapbook and I saw it and I thought, perfect. A little glue just to keep it from sticking. This one didn't look too bad. I'll just add a little glue. And my glue is it's dried up there. I didn't cover it after my last video. But this one I think I'm going to put on this side. Actually, let's flip it around so the pink is over on this side. And the green, the red. And I'm going to actually cover up that little spot that I made a mistake on. My stencil didn't stick. Perfect. Happy accidents. Creative opportunities. I need my sharper scissors. These ones are not that sharp. I have several scissors. I'm sure we all have several scissors. There we go. That little piece of black is just being difficult. All right, so there's our 2 card panels. I think I am going to quick show you. We're going to put a little, my glue is being done. Let's grab the glue press. See if that's going to work for me today. There we go. And a little bit of dots of glue right here, right there, and right there. And I'm going to add some crystals. Now I'm going to need to let this sit and dry really well because it's on, this is a slick surface. And actually we're going to go ahead and grab the light pink crystals to tie in with our card. And you just need a sentiment and we'll be done. So yeah, you'll have to let them sit. If you play with them too much, they're not going to stick because this is the sparkle overlay is a slick surface. Okay. We'll let those dry for just a few minutes while we work on our sentiment. So what I'm going to do for a sentiment is I have the Merry Christmas, but I did card surgery on it. And I cut it in half. I did stamp surgery. I'm okay with that. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some black ink because I want a very, I'm going to use our Wave and Detail ink. And I want a very stark contrast to all the other colors. Looks like there might be some schmutz on my, let me clean this off. Oh, schmutz on my stamp set. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this down a little bit just because it's easier for me to run it through my die cut machine. I could have probably just grabbed some scraps, but I figured this was right here. And this is another die from that same stamp set or same die set that I used before to cut out my trees. And I'm just going to go ahead and it has the same deckled edge on here. And I'm just going to center it a little bit on there. And die cut that out real quick. Get one more. I'm not too scared of cutting my stamps in half because I just cut them straight because you can just butt them up against each other, especially when you're using something like a Misty. The first time I ever did it, I was super nervous, but I've done it a few times now, and I'm just like, not a big deal. All right, let's get our cards out here. So we've got our Merry Christmas. I think I'm going to put one up there. And I think we're going to stick the other one here. I don't know if I like it up there. I think I might stick it. I'm going to stick them both down here, which means I need to have a little foam tape on the bottom of each. So of this one anyway, I need foam tape. That's a little too wide. Over here. And a little glue on the other side. And I'm using liquid glue because of the overlay. Yeah, we're going to do them kind of at the same place on both cards. But this one, instead of putting it over here, we're going to put it over here. So I just need a little bit of foam tape. I'm going to double it because it's a little bit thicker. In the corner here. And then I'll add a little bit of glue, liquid glue. Right here. And there we go. And I think for just a little bit of extra fun, I'm going to add 1, 2. I'll add 1, 2, and 3. So for this card, we're going to have ones that kind of popped out here. And I only added 2 around the sentiment because it's and it's an odd number because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 there. And then for this one, well, yeah, add some of the crystals. One, 2, 3. So there you go, you guys. A couple of cards using the second day 7 Stencilpalooza stencil. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great night and the rest of your day, and have a fabulous week. I'll see you on Friday night. Bye now.